I'm here with the masterminds behind the Mile High Power Metal Fest. Thank you very much for the two of you to join us. For those that don't know these lovely faces, do you guys care to introduce yourselves?
Okay.
I'm Lucy of Bite Size Productions.
And I am Soren with Celestial Wizard.
And like I said, the masterminds behind an incredible festival that happens in Denver starting now, well, starting this year. It will happen every year, I hope so, because this year was an absolute blast. I'm very happy that you guys invited me to come. It was an absolute pleasure to be there. And just what is this? Oh, it's my phone telling me that me and you need to talk to now right now on Zoom. So there you go. I was like, what is that? So I was really happy to be there for this inaugural year, but I think this is going to be something that it's going to continue through time. I don't see it stopping unless you guys want it to stop, because everybody had a great time. Everybody was smiles all around.
Yay!
And that's really the goal we were hoping to bring, was just friendship and metal and just having a bunch of friends together to have a great time. And it went off. For the most part, it went off without a hitch. It was very smooth. It was an incredible experience,
Especially for a first year, very smooth.
And you know what? The first thing that impressed me about it was the venue. I honestly really like the venue. I like the setup. I like how it looks, how it feels. Massive stage, like massive stage. I was expecting something a lot smaller, a lot darker, a lot dingier, and I was like, wow, these kids are all right. The kids are all right. They're doing all right. You know what I mean? Like they're doing good for themselves. I like what you guys did. How was that venue for you? Did it make it better for the show to have a venue like that where the stage is so nice in terms of the size and even the way fans can line up and really enjoy the bands? What was the feedback that you guys received?
I love that space. So I used to work there. So I was able to talk with the owner about us being able to do that fest there, because or else we definitely would have had it probably more at like a DIY. But the main reason we also wanted to pick that space specifically is because it's one of like the very few independent venues in Denver. And so we wanted to make sure that we were supporting local business and local folks. And that was the biggest venue that we could do that at.
And it was phenomenal. I mean, when I got there, the lineup was massive. I was like, okay, this is all shaping up to be a great day. I like the way the venue looks. I really like it. I mean, just to give people an idea, KK's Priest and Accept, their tour is playing at that venue. So, like, just to give people a little bit of an idea that I'm not just pumping your tires. It was a great venue. And like I said, when I got there, big lineup already, and then you guys had a packed day. And when I mean packed day, I mean packed day. Really quick
Tell me about it.
changeovers. Yeah, but you know what? You know what impressed me is that you guys were able to keep the schedule. I didn't think it was going to be possible. I think, two bands in, we would be like an hour behind.
Yeah. Well, the night before at the Battle of the Bands, we were an hour behind. And so I was like, okay, this was our test round. Tomorrow we're gonna do it different.
and we were very lucky. We had a few volunteers that we're friends with that actually work for Live Nation doing like stagehand work, that stood by and really helped everything move as fast as it possibly could. And so, yeah, I mean, it was that, and all of the bands being so professional and just being ready to move, ready to start. Every single person involved with the show was responsible for making it that smooth. Because honestly, I was nervous. I was very nervous. 15-minute changeovers for some of these bands is pretty tight. It's pretty unreal.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a great team to help us out with it, and it went very well.
It
Yeah,
did. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say we also like really pushed the schedule with everybody. We're like, hey, it's gonna be a tight day. It's 50-minute changeovers. Like, be ready. And on everybody's badge, we put the schedule on there so they could have it on them at all times instead of just like posted around the venue. And I think that also helped a lot with just everyone was very much aware of the time.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I really hope that when it came to the bands, you guys didn't pay by performance. Otherwise, Jake is going to get a massive paycheck because that guy was going on stage with every band doing a little cameo. I'm like, is he getting paid extra or something? Like, what's going on here? What can I say about Jake and the guys from Etherrealm? Incredible dudes. Everybody was super nice, and I saw like this massive brotherhood between the bands. Like everybody, even bands who didn't really know one another, everybody was still very cooperative with one another and friendly with one another. There was a great atmosphere. Love was in the air.
Yay!
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these bands, they do know each other. And so, I think, Barbara Blackthorn put it very well that, we're all just friends that haven't met yet. And yeah, we all just got to hang out and just talk. It was a friend fest for sure.
Yeah, backstage we were calling it the homie fest.
I agree with you. It was great. Like, I mean, I got to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a very long time, and I got to see people that I see on a regular basis just because they tour a lot and they come through Toronto a lot. But it was such a nice vibe. It was such a nice atmosphere. Everybody was having a good time. The people attending, everybody had smiles. Everybody looks like they were enjoying themselves. I saw some people in the front row like just going nuts, like singing and fist pumping, like there was a night at the Roxbury. It was incredible. Just like such a good vibe. And that obviously puts a huge smile on your face, and it lets you know, both of you, that you guys are on the right track to continue to push the festival forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we do, I'm not going to spoil anything, but we do have some big plans for 2025, and we've been in talks with some pretty awesome artists, but again, no spoilers.
So are you going to give everybody at least 30 minutes changeover?
Yeah. So one thing is we are cutting down the number of bands down to 8.
It was a long day.
Yeah, because 11 bands on a single stage on a single day it's pretty brutal. So we are going to allow for both longer changeovers as well as some longer sets from a lot of these bands. So yeah.
What are some of the things that you guys, like you said, this is the first one, so you're learning as you're going along. I mean, like, you cannot expect perfection the first time around, but when you look back now that you've had time to sit down, both of you, and analyze how the day went, outside of the number of bands, outside of the changeovers, is there anything else that you guys see that there's room for improvement and something that you guys would like to do? Maybe not next year because it's not possible yet, but maybe down the road?
Oh, definitely. I mean, immediately the day after, I started taking a bunch of notes of like, okay, here's what went really well. Here's what didn't go well. Here's what we need to like change up for next year. Here's what we need to keep doing for next year. Here's what people liked, didn't like. I made a whole list that now, because it's fresh in my mind. So when we do get to that point next year, it's like, okay, here's the list of stuff I said last year that we need to make sure we're doing, and the checklist that we have ready to go.
Yeah, we got a lot of really good feedback from a lot of the crowds and a lot of the bands. Both, very happy feedback from how the day went, and some constructive things that we'll definitely be taking into account. And so, yeah, yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
I think one thing that I was thinking about it on that, I mean, actually, I didn't think about it on that day. I thought about it when I was coming home because freaking Air Canada canceled my flight, so I had a lot of time to think over. I had a lot of time to sit in Denver and think about the festival and how could things be better. You know what I mean? Because they obviously thought that I had no other places to go but just to chill in Denver for an extra day. And I was thinking one thing that you guys should consider, if you're not going to have food vendors within the venue, maybe partner it up with some of the places around the venue where people who buy a ticket for the show get like a coupon or a discount or something like that, because that drives business to those other businesses in the periphery. So they have a lot to gain because they're going to get a ton of business on that day from you guys. And if they give you guys a little bit of a break, that helps the people attending get a little bit of a discount. And then you don't have to worry about having food vendors just coming in for you. The people can go get their own food. And it's kind of like a win-win situation because you don't have to deal with the headache of it, the businesses earn money because they get a huge amount of people coming to their establishments. I don't know. I just thought about that. I thought that would be an interesting idea.
Oh, it's a very, very good idea. I think the Oriental's policy of allowing outside food in was definitely very helpful
Yes.
for such a long day. Um, and yeah, that's definitely something that we will take into account, and we'll look into that. That's a great idea.
It's a great idea, especially because the restaurants that are around there are really good.
I,
So
I
we
went
would love to.
I went to that sandwich place across the street. I can't remember the gnome, the friendly
Gnome,
gnome or
Grateful
whatever.
Gnome, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. First of all, they did the food super quick, so it allowed me to not actually miss any of the band's sets. I went there within those 15 minutes, and I was able to order my food, eat my food, pay for my food, and get out. And I didn't miss anything at all. So I think in that vein that you guys were saying of supporting the local businesses, I think this could be such a great partnership. That you guys could really help support those local businesses, and at the same time, they could help you guys by taking that extra weight off of your shoulders.
Yeah, and now that we have the first year under our belt and we have an idea of what to expect and where to go from here, I think that it would be a lot easier for us to also work with those restaurants, knowing like, hey, we're gonna have you know 400 or 500 people at the venue for an all-day festival. Let's bring them in. Let's get them some food. Let's help support your business. Help make
Yeah.
sure these guys are taken care of, because yeah, it was a long day.
It's a much easier sell now with that under
Oh
our
yeah,
belt.
yeah. Now you guys have the numbers behind you, and you have the experience that you did it. It's not like you're not really sure how it's going to turn out. You already have that experience. And speaking of numbers, how was the numbers for you guys for the festival? Did they meet the expectations? Did they surpass the expectations?
They surpassed. I mean, we ended up in the green,
Which
which
is
is
crazy.
Not in the bunker, not in the not in the parking lot with a swing to the left. This was in the green.
Yeah. So we went positive monetarily for the festival, which for a first year fest is almost unheard of. I think because the night of the battle we had about 250 tickets sold. So we were doing all right. We needed 300 to break even, and the day of the battle and then the day of the festival, we had an extra 100 tickets come in. So we were definitely able to surpass our goal. And yeah, it felt good. It was amazing. And it really showed how strong the Denver and the metal community are to come together and take a chance on this little baby first time festival. And it paid off really, really well. And it's just got us really fired up for next year.
Yeah, and you know what? I was not the only one that traveled there. When I was waiting in line outside, I met people that traveled from Seattle. I met a dude there that traveled from Utah. I know Utah is not far, but I actually had met him at Prague Power last year.
Oh,
So it's someone who travels regularly to Prague Power. Now you guys are a lot closer. So he came. I actually asked him if he was going to Prague Power. He said probably not. So not that there's a problem with that. It's just that when you start to have things closer to you, you start to wonder, is it really worth to go further away? Like Atlanta's much further than Denver if you're living in Utah. So I saw a lot of familiar faces that I had seen at other festivals. So it was not just the Denver local scene that came out. I felt like you guys really captured at least the surrounding area, that area around you guys, where it's easy to travel there, is not very expensive. You can hop on a flight. So there was a lot of people from out of town as well.
yeah.
There was a point in the show where I think it was Seven Spires is like, how many people are from Denver? Some people raised their hand, and then they're like, how many people traveled out for this festival? And it was like 50% of the people in the room. And I was just like, whoa, I didn't realize we would have that many people out of town. Because Bite Size as a production company is very local. So, I only thought our reach would really be within the Denver, at least Colorado area. But seeing that it was like 50% of outside people blew my mind.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like I said, once I got there, I saw some familiar faces that I knew they were not from Denver. So, I mean, it really showcases that a lot of people took a chance and they believed in you guys, and you guys had a good lineup. that entice people to come and see the show. And I think as you continue to build and grow, not only reaching out to the restaurants, you guys should reach out to the Colorado travel tourism, whoever those people are, because you're bringing tourism to the city. So they should be able to help you guys a lot more with funding or hotel discounts, like what have you, to like even promote it more for people outside of Denver to make the trip to Denver to start to become more of a the destiny a destination travel place when it comes to like August and you don't know where to go. I honestly think you guys have a really great thing on your hands here, and sky is the limit. It really comes down to how much effort and how much more work you guys want to put in and how more of sleepless nights you want to have.
Yeah, and something that we really learned this year is it's a lot of work for just the two of us to put on. It's unreal. So we actually have a few people that are joining the staff of Mile High to help us branch out, and take some of that weight off our shoulders while also allowing us to be able to grow as a festival. Because I mean, year one's under our belt, and year two's shaping up to be pretty freaking awesome. Again, no spoilers. But in a few years' time, we want it to be massive. We want to be able to expand to 2 or 3 days. I had people telling me that they have farmland out east that they'll rent to us for the festival if we ever make it to like a Vakken sized thing, which is a goal, but that's a long ways out.
Yeah, I was going to say probably the first goal for you guys would go from 1 day to 2 days, because that would allow you to have a little bit more than the bands even that you had this year, but it would allow the day to be a little bit more spaced out, and it would allow things to run, maybe take a little bit off. It would be more work because now you're looking at 2 days, but on the day itself would perhaps be a little bit less hectic.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that'll come in time, I think.
Yeah, I think in a couple of years we could expand it past a day, but I'll probably stick with the 1 day for now.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like,
Exactly.
you got to be able to take steps that are just about your leg size, because if you try to take steps too big, then you end up falling flat on your face. So you don't want to, you want to keep the momentum going, and you want to keep the positive momentum going for sure. And I think that's an important aspect of it. And I don't think you want to really try to do more than what you can handle. Otherwise, you're going to feel really overwhelmed.
Yeah,
No kidding.
absolutely.
Did you guys ever think that the two main, because the two main bands on the day obviously was Etherrealm and Seven Spires, did you ever thought that those two bands would have enough impact, enough reach to push this festival forward and to establish it?
Absolutely. I've seen both Aetherrealm and Seven Spires at the Oriental Theater before, and they drew a massive crowd. And it was definitely kind of going out on a limb, reaching to book both those bands. But I had met Peter from Seven Spires a few times before, so we were kind of acquaintances at the point. And so when I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey man, I'm building this power metal festival. It's the first year, and I want you guys to headline it." And he was ecstatic. He was very, very thrilled. And I reached out to Aetherrealm's management team as well, kind of gave them the spiel, and we ended up settling on them co-headlining. And I think that was really the best way that it could have gone, because one band, Aetherrealm brings a crowd, Seven Spires brings a crowd, but them together was really what helped this festival pop off the way that it did. And I think we are extremely fortunate and extremely blessed to work with the bands that we did and have the lineup that we had for the first year. Because all of these artists as well, they're all most of them, work day jobs, had to take time off of work, had to travel, get plane tickets, to take a chance on this fest happening. And we are so extremely grateful for their support and their belief in us to pull this off, and we did it.
One piece of advice that I would give you in terms of the times is to not announce publicly the set times, because then what happens is you end up having people who just want to see certain bands, they just show up at that time
Yeah,
versus, hey, the doors open at 12, first band goes on at 12:30. So if you don't want to miss your favorite band, make it here at 12:30 and enjoy everybody else, because we're not gonna mill it in for you, because I think that allows people, the way you guys did it, it allows people to say, well, I just want to see Other Realm, or I just want to see Seven Spires, or whoever it is that they want to see, and then they just show up right before that time versus being there and really taking in all day the experience and enjoying the bands. So just my 2 cents. I would not. The bands is fine. The bands knowing their set times is fine, but not the public. I would not. I wouldn't. That I wouldn't do that. I would let everybody guess.
Well, and we were asked multiple times, like getting messages and things of like, hey, where's the schedule? Where's the schedule? And so we are like, I guess we'll have to put up a schedule, because normally that was our plan, was to just be like, hey, doors at 12, but we our our DMs were blown up with people wanting to know times. So we're like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, but I think maybe for the first year is okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you also don't want to upset the customers.
Mhm.
But I think as you guys grow more, um, I think maybe not publicizing. I mean, it's just my idea. Maybe it's okay to
Mhm.
publicize. I mean, a lot of festivals that I go to, I know the running order of the bands. The festival will announce the running order of the bands, but they will not necessarily tell you what times they go on stage. You just get the running order of the bands for the day.
That's smart.
So that way like, okay, if I want to see Necrogoblikon and they're the last band of the day, okay, they're the last band of the day. But I don't know, what does that mean? Do they go on at 10? Do they go on at 11? I don't know, right? But normally they'll announce the running order, but not necessarily the time. At least, I mean, every festival runs it differently. I just think that you want to get as many people in the door as the door opens versus having people trickle in. At least
Yeah,
from an aesthetic standpoint, from the bands that go on earlier to play a little bit to a fuller house.
I agree.
exactly. And yeah, I agree completely. And that's one thing we want to be able to reward our locals that are going to be opening the show. Because I mean, our locals this year, they were a little nervous, and they're like, because we're used to, yeah, people show up towards the end. We really didn't know or expect it to be as packed as it was at the start of it. And so that was a huge thing for our locals, and I think for our battle winners, I think that's another little thing. We want to be able to give them an opportunity to play in front of a really good crowd on a really good stage. Because I mean, they put their heart and their soul into their music, just like all of our touring bands, like every musician does. And I think that giving them the chance to really play for as many people as possible is part of that experience.
And I wanted to ask you this because in terms of the local bands, obviously you had the two winners from the Battle of the Bands the night before. They're going to be the openers for next year's festival. What are your expectations from, I mean, in terms, not expectations in terms of their performance, but do you expect them to help promote the festival? At the end of the day, you're giving them a platform. I think the least they can do is help you guys also promote the festival. Is that kind of like an unwritten rule, or is it written? Maybe it's written.
They very much know that's part of the deal.
Yeah. And locals, I especially in the Denver scene, it's very much drilled into the local bands. Like if it's your show, you promote it, you pull the people out, you build the crowd. And that's not necessarily what we're expecting with Mile High, but like, it is a massive performance for them. A lot of these guys haven't played on the Oriental stage before. They haven't played with such insane bands that they're going to be playing with, and so yeah, it is definitely expected that they will help promote, help get the word out. But it's not like we're requiring each local band to sell like a
Yeah, yeah.
hundred. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's
but
definitely not pay to play. With all of Bite Sizes shows, I always make sure to let people know that we're a team at the end of the day. So it's like I can promote and we can promote as much as we possibly can, but they should be promoting too, because the more people that are seeing it, the more people will come and they'll have an audience that maybe we don't reach. So it's always good to work as a team. And I try to make sure that that is very much seen as a team effort, not just like, okay, show up and play, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, the reason why I'm asking that is because I noticed that a lot of the bands that did the Battle of the Bands the day before were there. A lot of people from those bands were there, but there was also some people that were not there, and I was a little bit disappointed with that personally, because if you participated in the Battle of the Bands because you wanted to play this festival, regardless if you won or you didn't win or whatever the case might be, I think you should be there to promote the festival that gave you an opportunity to be there, and might give you an opportunity in the future to be there. I felt I felt a little bit slighted, even though I'm not the one organizing the damn festival. But I felt like, what the fuck? Like, you guys wanted to win to play, and now, okay, you didn't win, fine, and not everybody can win. But like, what about showing up there and being part of this event, and really showing that you're, you have their back, because they would have had your back had you have won.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because yes, it was a battle of the bands to play the festival, but it was also a battle to see how they act, like the professionalism of it all and everything. So I definitely take note of that, because it's like, okay, am I going to book you in the future for other events or things like that? Like, are you a team player? Are you going to be coming through and like being a part of it? Or are you just here to try to get on the fest and play, you know?
Mhm.
I'm definitely taking note of it. So we're definitely aware. It sucks, but I mean, at the end of the day, people are people, and sometimes, you know, maybe people out of work, there's things like that that of course always come up, but we're aware. We see it
Okay,
too.
I'm glad I was not the only one that noticed. I'm glad. I'm
Yeah.
glad. Guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. Is there any parting words that you guys want to have and let everybody know about next year, without saying anything about the bands playing, but just do you have any dates? Like, what's the best way for people to stay in touch, to know announcements, like anything you guys want to leave out there?
So no dates, no lineup stuff, but we do have a Discord that we just recently made. So if you want to stay updated in the Discord, it'll be on the bite size page. It should have a link to it.
I'll put a link in the description of the video as well.
That'd be great. Yeah, the Discord will have all the details, but what do you got? You got all the secrets.
I do have all the secrets, and it's so hard not to spill the beans, man. It is so hard. I will say, next year we're taking a bigger step than we did this year. I will say we've got a couple bands coming in from overseas, which is going to be really, really exciting. Definitely aim for a late August time frame, because we're trying to allow for more time between Mad with Power and Prague Power and Blades of Steel and Michigan Metal Fest. All the fests like to happen in August for some reason. So yeah, I would say keep an eye out. Late August, we will probably be making the lineup announcements and the actual fest announcements early 2025. And yeah, I just want to say to everybody that came by, to you included, I hope that you and Diane had a very, very wonderful time while you're out here. It was so great to meet you guys in person. And without everybody that came through, this wouldn't have happened. And, Lucy and I may have gotten the ball rolling on Mile High Power Fest, but without the support of the metal community at large and the Denver community, it would not have gone nearly as well as it did. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you on behalf of my wife and I, thank you for having us. Thank you for your time today. An absolute pleasure and blast to always speak to the two of you. I love these lovely faces. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys. Thank you very much for taking the time. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you
as
so
well.
much.